What happens when a Hollywood actress known for her quick wit and calm charm suddenly finds her marriage splashed across headlines for all the wrong reasons? For Curb Your Enthusiasm star Cheryl Hines, life took a sharp turn when whispers of her husband Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s alleged sexting affair with journalist Olivia Nuzzi went public. It wasn't just another celebrity rumor. This one hit in the middle of Kennedy's 2024 presidential campaign, a time already filled with chaos, scrutiny, and non-stop headlines. Suddenly, the political drama collided with Hollywood gossip, creating a storm that no publicist could easily control. Cheryl didn't just face the embarrassment of public speculation. She faced the deeper question every spouse dreads: what's true and who can I trust? And when she finally spoke out, her reaction wasn't fiery or defensive. It was measured, subtle, and loaded with meaning. Because behind her calm words, many heard something else: a quiet frustration, maybe even disbelief. But before we dive into her response, it's important to understand how this scandal even began and how one journalist's personal communication with a presidential candidate turned into one of the most talked about stories of the year. Before the chaos hit, Cheryl Hines and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. were seen as one of those unexpected Hollywood politics power couples that somehow made it work. She was the grounded actress who could make any room laugh. He was the outspoken Kennedy heir chasing an independent run for the presidency. They'd been married since 2014, a full decade of public appearances, red carpet smiles, and quiet family moments that hinted at stability. But the campaign trail changed everything. Kennedy's 2024 run was unlike any other. Constant headlines, intense media scrutiny, and endless controversies that seemed to shadow every speech. Cheryl described it herself. It was an exhausting year and a half of headlines and rumors and chaos. And that chaos didn't stay confined to politics. Every word, every photo, every rumor suddenly carried extra weight. The closer Kennedy got to the spotlight, the more the cracks in their private life began to show. What had once been a marriage largely kept out of the press now found itself under a magnifying glass. Behind the scenes, insiders described Cheryl as exhausted, doing her best to support her husband while quietly dealing with the stress that comes from being married to a candidate under constant fire. Friends reportedly said she was trying to keep her head down, hoping the noise would pass, but instead it only grew louder. Because just when things couldn't get any more chaotic, a new story was about to drop, one that no one, not even Cheryl, could have seen coming. It all started with a rumor, quiet at first, then impossible to ignore. Reports began surfacing that Olivia Nuzzi, a well-known political journalist covering Kennedy's presidential campaign for New York Magazine, had grown a little too close to her subject. At first, it sounded like another campaign season whisper, the kind that fades as quickly as it appears. But then, leaked messages started making the rounds. Screenshots, private exchanges, late-night conversations. Suddenly, it wasn't just speculation anymore. Within days, New York Magazine confirmed that Nuzzi had been placed on leave. The outlet cited what they called a conflict of interest, but the damage was already done. The story spread across social media like wildfire, mixing political scandal with celebrity intrigue, a combination that guarantees viral chaos. Nuzzi eventually addressed the controversy herself, admitting that the nature of some communication between her and Kennedy had become personal. She stressed that the relationship was never physical, but admitted it should have been disclosed to avoid the appearance of a conflict. That statement, though carefully worded, raised more questions than it answered. What kind of messages were exchanged? When did it happen? And, most importantly, did Cheryl know? For Kennedy, the fallout was immediate. His team denied any wrongdoing, insisting that the two had met only once for an interview. But for Cheryl Hines, the headlines weren't political anymore. They were personal. The private life she'd worked so hard to protect was now front-page news. And while Nuzzi stepped back from the public eye, disappearing quietly after her suspension, Cheryl found herself facing a storm she never asked for, one that would soon test both her patience and her marriage.